Hey guys, and welcome back to ScarletSprites. Finally, August really took a toll on me. 2 cons in 3 weeks, ended up deathly sick, and then got healthy enough to go on vacation for a little bit and ended up sick again. Physical toll on my body. It's not been great. I've been going to bed at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock just trying to heal. This is the first night I've felt like recording or really doing anything. There's been nothing going on except for me going to bed after making it through a workday. So I'm glad to be back and doing something, and I'm going to kind of ease into it with something easy today, and that is, could I get lucky twice? And the last video, or one of the last videos that I did, talked about picking up a Killer Instinct PCB. Usually about $1,000, right? Like if you're picking these up, 4 figures, somewhere in there. If you're picking this up on eBay, if you're on the forums, you get a bro price from somebody, maybe you get it in 900, a little less than that here or there. But for the most part, this is a 4-figure board. Now I was able to pick this up for $250 because it didn't have a hard drive. And I started wondering to myself, are there other games out there that I could pick up that maybe people are trying to unload that don't have hard drives? So the Killer Instinct thing worked out in my favor, obviously. We talked about that in the video, and I say it worked out in my favor. It's kind of spun off this whole let's do the whole cabinet thing, so that's pretty cool. And I've talked about being a big fan of Midway in the past, going into those arcades in the 90s and seeing Open Ice or the latest incarnation of NBA Jam, the Blitz series, Mortal Kombat, all of those different types of titles. WrestleMania kind of under the radar there. A lot of people don't talk too much about that one, but that's a pretty fun game. So all of those types of games coming out in the 90s from Midway, and I'm, later in life here as an adult collecting arcade stuff, a lot of people are into the more niche stuff, and I guess I'll say the fine wines of arcade, shooters and the more technical fighters and stuff like that, whereas maybe, as an American arcade goer, I kind of got stuck on some of the Coors Light games. I've talked about using that phrase in the past before too. But it's just what I like. It's what I like to play. Often as an adult, you don't have a whole lot of time to jump in and play games, and so if I get 15-20 minutes to come in and play Mortal Kombat or Smash TV or just something really cheesy and enjoy it, that's what I like to spend my time on these days. So, I go out and I start looking to see what else I could find. Like maybe I can find another game that somebody doesn't have a hard drive for that I can pick up cheap. What do I come across but War Gods? Now, War Gods is a Midway fighter that, I remember it being hyped up in EGM back in the day and seeing pictures and everything, and it was another arcade game that I couldn't wait to get into the arcade to find and play. And when I did, it's not great. And I say that, and I'm sure there will be War Gods defenders coming out of the woodwork. When I did that BioFreaks video, I couldn't believe, I trashed BioFreaks, and maybe unfairly because it's an unfinished game, but also the N64 version which came out, and it's just not good. I don't think it's a good game, but it has its defenders. People, criticize me in my opinion, and that's fine. Like, I'm sure War Gods has its defenders as well, but we can all agree, maybe most of us can agree, it's not Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. It's an early 3D fighting game, and for the most part, it's just not good. Let's just say that. Let's just say it's not great. But as a Midway collector, it's a part of Midway's history, and if I can pick that up cheap, I'm going to. So I come across a War Gods PCB. It's $60 plus $20 shipping. So I purchased this, of course, and for $80, War Gods arrives in the mail. I did simple green this, clean it up a little bit, make it shine, so it looks pretty good overall. It does boot up just like the seller said it would, and it throws this error because there's no hard drive attached. So, alright, here we go. I've done this for plenty of Midway games and Killer Instinct most recently, so I found one of these disc-on modules. I'm like, I got a few of these laying around. Let's go ahead and write one of these. We'll take the War Gods CHD file from MAME, write it to the disc-on module, pop it on here, and Yeah, that doesn't work. It's not booting with the disk-on module, but that's okay because these are kind of finicky. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Depends on the board, depends on the disk-on module, who's making this, the manufacturer, all that kind of stuff. It's no different than compact flash cards with some other systems. All right, so the disk-on module's out. Doesn't work. Oh, okay, that's fine. No big deal. I've got plenty of compact flash cards here. We'll go ahead and we'll go that route. I've got some SanDisk cards here. I think I have some Transcends, whatever. We'll go through, we'll write a couple of these. So same result. Now I'm starting to get a little worried because the disk-on module doesn't work and the compact flash route, which is in general pretty reliable for me here in the past, also does not work. And then it dawned on me. Do you remember the key point of the Killer Instinct video when I was talking about this is there is a ROM chip, the boot ROM, on the Killer Instinct board, which had to be modified in order to allow the game to boot from any hard drive, the any IDE boot ROM. So that's missing from War Gods. And like we talked about, let's just be honest, no one gives a shit about War Gods. So no one has taken the time to actually modify the code to allow this to boot with any IDE. So using compact flash cards, disk-on modules, it's not going to work because the game is looking for that original hard drive when it boots up. So did anybody actually solve this? Well, obviously the easiest solution here is to find the original drive or the same model that the original drive was, write the CHD file to that, plug it in, and you're off and running. It's the original drive. It's what the game is looking for. But how easy is it to find those? Not very, based on a few searches that I've done. So if you can't find an original drive, what do you do? Well, and here's where I unraveled an entire thread on War Gods and this problem on a forum. This gets complicated, people. For the 50,000 foot view, the watered down version of this is you're faking the original drive's attributes on a compact flash card or disk-on module. And in order to do that, you need some old hardware. And I mean, I was not able to get this to work with anything modern that I had. And I'm not going to go into the details. I'm going to link the thread for you if you feel like reading it. Basically, in a nutshell, there is this whole set max value thing that you need to be able to do to basically tell the compact flash card or the disk-on module that this is how big you are. And so when the War Gods PCB is looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's the original size of the original hard drive that I came with. The problem is not all compact flash cards are capable of doing this. The disk-on modules aren't all capable of doing this. I don't know which ones. It's not like there's a list out there for people that are just out there writing War Gods cards. And then you also need some special hardware to do this. And it's not necessarily special, but older hardware that it's been a while, but I think you need to be able to enable IDE mode over a SATA connection. The whole thing gets really complicated. I found some old laptops that I had, was able to get up and running and try this a few times, but I could never get that whole IDE mode over SATA enabled. And the whole thing, and then I didn't know if I had the right cards. The whole thing's a mess, right? So thankfully, or maybe not so much, there is somebody who wrote a bunch of these cards when they got the whole thing up and running and was selling them. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna buy this damn compact flash card and be done with it. So here's the good news. I got that compact flash card from the individual who was doing this per the instructions on the forum, and I plugged it into War Gods, and we're up and running. So I got this Midway War Gods PCB for 80 bucks, right? No, because the person who wrote these cards, look, you should get paid for your time. If you're doing something like, I didn't have the hardware to do this, I didn't have the right compact flash or disk-on modules to do this, and I spent probably 2 hours trying to figure it out and trying to find something that worked. So this person had what he needed and wrote a bunch of cards when he had it up and running. He should be compensated for doing that and for his time. he was charging $100 for these compact flashcards. So it's either I have a War Gods PCB that I spent $80 on just sitting there non-functional, or I spend $100 on a gouge for this compact flashcard, plug it in, and now, yes, I do have a working War Gods game for $180 total now, which is more than I wanted to spend. Now, if you go back and look on eBay, forums, I don't know, you probably can't find a War Gods PCB for $200 or in this case, less than $200. I don't know that had I known I was going to have to invest this type of money into War Gods of all games, I would have done it. I mean, I guess in the long run, $180 for an actual arcade game to have it up and running, and have that as an option, part of Midway history, it's pretty cool, and I'm thankful I have it. It's done and over with now. But this is a lesson learned, and it's something I was just talking about on Twitter today. Go out and search and make sure you understand how to solve these types of problems, because not everything is the same, even though it might seemingly be how you solve something in the past. And I'll own this one because I just did Killer Instinct and that whole any IDE boot ROM and didn't think about it when I picked up War Gods, and so I got burned. Thankfully it all worked out in the end. We're up and running, but $180 and $100 that compact flash card, I don't know. I mean, hopefully somebody else has the tools to do this and maybe runs a few off and doesn't charge so much money for them. But in the end, I'm up, I'm running, and I've got another Midway game. So that's it for today. That's just a quick story now that I'm back and running here. So hopefully more to come. I still got to get that Vuelix video out. I still have been fooling with that. I've made some modifications and adjustments and updates to that cabinet since I've gotten it. So the video and audio that I recorded for it's already outdated. So I'll probably have to go back and redo some things for the Vuelix video. But that's coming eventually here. So thanks so much for checking things out today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Later, guys.